Hi, and welcome to the e-learning of week 5. In this topic, you have discussed about producing and serving safe food. And once again, we are going to discuss a topic that is enlarging what you have discussed during the class. In this video, we are going to cover a document named SOP. And it's one of the most important documents when it comes to producing and serving safe food. So let's start with a few questions. First, what does SOP stand for? It means SOP is the three first letters of three different words. It's standardized operating procedure. It's a document that is used everywhere, internationally. Every single hotel has SOP, or at least should have SOP, in France, US, anywhere. What is an SOP? To summarize, it's a written step-by-step document that helps workers to carry out a task. So it's roughly instruction and details on how to do a given task. So it can be on any task. It can be on washing a cup, it could be on setting up a table, it could be on check-in, check-out, it can be on any procedure that you need. So it's a document that summarizes and explains what is a procedure. Why do we use SOP? Well, this one is very simple. It's useful for three things. First, it's useful to control quality because the SOP is the reference. For you to control quality, you need to compare. You need to compare what people do with what should be done. So the SOP is the standards, means what should be done, and you compare to the reality, means what people practice. So it's the most fundamental document to control quality. If you don't have it, it means your quality control is biased. It's not fair. It's used to control uniformity, means that everything is equal and the same. For example, an SOP can help you have every table look the same because it's the same table setting, have cappuccino made the same way, taste the same, etc. So it's to make sure that everything is the same. And it's also helpful to maintain standards in general, which is true also for behavior. People or your staff behave the same way, they do things the same way, and they deliver the same product or service. Otherwise, it's not fair to the guest. When I pay, I should have the same than someone else. So it's maintaining every aspect of the standards, the equipment used, the quality of the service, the quality of the product. If we look at an example, when I mentioned just now about cappuccino, maybe you thought of Starbucks. One of the best examples is probably McDonald's. McDonald's is one of the strongest company when it comes to standardized operating procedure because their procedures are very detailed. Every single part of a McDonald's has SOP. The cleaning, how to make the duty roster, means the timetable for staff, how to order food, how to make food, how to serve food. Everything is really, really timed and detailed in a proper procedure. So this is what helps McDonald's make the burger taste the same, have the same service speed everywhere. Of course, the SOP is not the only component. Without going into detail, you need SOP that are very good, but you also need training, for example. That's why McDonald's is one of the best. They have one of the best training systems. Let's look to continue, add an SOP. How does it look like? Well, this is an example of a standardized operating procedure for hand washing. When the staff is cooking in the kitchen, or let's say your staff goes into the washroom after they did something, this is what they should do. So the SOP can be displayed in the staff washroom, can be displayed in front of the sink, and of course, you can train your staff on the SOP. If everybody follow the standard operating procedure or standardized operating procedure, everybody will have a proper hand washing and you will avoid food poisoning. So SOP are not only here to maintain quality in terms of taste or service, but is also to keep product and people safe. So technically, every department has SOP, F&B, front office, room division, and other departments, security, facilities, even the management, human resource. An entire hotel has SOP. Let's continue and analyze in detail what are the different parts of an SOP and the different information you should have in an SOP. Usually you will have the department, so which department should follow the SOP, and the policy or the SOP as a number. So it means you number the procedure in order to make sure that you don't mix the procedures and to make sure that if there is an old version, the new version is clearly separated. You have usually a title and you have an introduction. The introduction is designed to highlight to the staff the purpose of the SOP. It means why the SOP exists. The SOP exists to make sure the food is served clean and safe to the guest. That's clearly stated in the introduction in order to convince people who are following the SOP that the SOP is important. The best way to convince people to follow an SOP is to convince them that it's important. And in this case, it's very important because you want your guests to be safe. The next component is the step. And usually before the step, you have the list of people who should follow the procedure. In that particular case, all employees in the restaurant. It means that this SOP does not apply to front office employee. It only applies to restaurant. Then after clarifying who should apply the SOP, you have the steps. It means every single thing you should do. And as you can see, it's specific. In that case, it has a timing indicating how long you should wash your hand, how long you should keep the soap, etc. The next step is the person in charge. Usually in a hotel, there is always a person in charge of a SOP. In charge means that they have on a daily basis check and monitor that people who are supposed to follow the SOP really follow it. So for example, the restaurant manager has to check that the staff is following the SOP. In that SOP, they mention employees in the restaurant, so we suppose it's F&B, but if it's including kitchen, it means restaurant manager and the chef. For the last component, it's the responsibility of the person in charge. What should the restaurant manager do? Monitor all employees to ensure that they follow the procedure. Make sure that you have enough soap and all the equipment for hand washing. And follow up if there is any issue of staff not complying, any issue of equipment, etc. So you are really in charge of the SOP and you have to make sure people follows the SOP. Of course, to make sure that even the restaurant manager monitor correctly, you have what we call quality control. You have audits. The audit aim at making sure that the person in charge really do his job as monitoring. Now, we are going to do some work and I need you to watch this video first. Now, let's look at what you need to do based on the video. You can watch the video one more time or as many times as you want. And you need to study the different mistakes shown in the video. In the video, they're showing you different mistakes and all the mistakes are related to storage, to food storage. So what we want you to do is create an SOP for food storage in a Word format. and you should follow the example of the hand washing SOP. It means just use the same kind of template and the same kind of design and the same kind of style for writing. You should have policy, the breakdown procedures, etc. Just follow this standard and write a new one, but instead of hand washing, it should be for food storage in the kitchen. After you have created your SOP, email it to this address. As usual, just put in the subject your full name, your student ID, no need to put anything, and don't forget to attach the document. Your SOP should be created in Word, Microsoft Word format. I hope you enjoyed this video and you find it interesting. All the best for the homework, and I'll see you very soon. Take good care. Bye bye.